Again, I want to thank the students taking their time away from their schedule to help us tonight. Thank you very much. Okay, is Sister Sarah here? Did she make it? Pastor Sarah? Okay, Nancy, can you come up?
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful day to honor these exceptional athletes and coaches. We're so thankful for all their families and friends that have came here to share this evening with them. Lord, we thank you so much for this food, and bless our bodies. In Jesus' name, amen.
Our first inductee is a gentleman who taught at Kiski area for many years, was involved in many activities in Kiski area. He played, like I said, he was a school teacher, a coach for many years, was an excellent teacher at Kiski area. Kenny graduated from the class of 1968. He earned 4 letters in football and basketball at Kiski area high school. He was part of the Kiski area football team that was Foothills Conference champions in 1967. In '68, he was captain of the Kiski area basketball team. He went on to play at Westminster College for 4 years. He played on the Westminster team in 1970 that won the NAIA National Championship. He was a district all-state selection in 70 and 71 as a defensive back at Westminster. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Fazio.
Thank you, Tony. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the committee for the work that they do in bringing together supporters of Kiski area athletics. We have a fantastic school district, fantastic athletic past. I'm glad we're here to celebrate it tonight and every year in the future, as long as we have leadership of our committee. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. All decades of Kiski area sports are represented here from the 1960s up to the mid-2000s. It's a special pleasure that 2 of the members up here, I also had the pleasure of coaching Brian in the late 1990s, Scott in the 1980s. Kuhn, I have to ask you, Did Joe Hansen really say that if I had not coached you, you would have been here 10 years ago? You're not answering me. Oh, I need to talk to you later tonight. When I got the call to tell me that I was to be an inductee this year, I started to question, why me? What did I do? Why was I chosen? And instead of the what's, the whys, and the hows, I came to realize it was all about the who's in my life. Those people who supported me, who encouraged me, who believed in me to help to get me here today. And I need to take a few minutes just to give credit to those people in my past. All of this started with my immediate family, Mary and Mario Fazio, and my brother Dan. I saw my father go to work every day, 6, 7 days a week, 8, 10 hours a day, never complained. And I quickly realized that hard work was something that you had to do if you wanted to accomplish any of your goals. So that became part of my makeup from day one. My mother, she took care of the house. She took care of my brother Danny and me. In the summer, her favorite thing to say was, "You boys go out and play." And Danny, "Take Kenny with you." Well, of course, he'd roll his eyes at her, shake his head, and then say, "Let's go." And we did. To the streets, to the alleys, playing, usually just him and me. Often other kids would play with us. Because Vanderbilt was a great time to grow up in. He wasn't always easy on me. He was bigger, stronger, better. But he taught me how to compete. If I wanted to stay there with him, I had to learn to compete. And so with hard work and a competitive attitude, I thought I was ready to play some organized sports. And over the following years, I did. I was very, very fortunate. I was a St. Gertrude bred Raider, playing for Coach Buck Triola. Buck was all about fundamentals and team. Run it again, do it right, run it again. And I'm sure some of my ex-players heard me say, run it again, do it right, run it again. I spent 1 year with John Coker as a Vanderbilt Lancer. And John helped you to believe in yourself. He encouraged you to trust yourself. And for that, I'll always be grateful. At this point, I was ready to be a Kiski area Cavalier. For 3 years, under Paul Gatto, Bill Hawley, Richard Dills, Frank Murray, Tony Nicholas. And for 3 years, it was all about physical and mental toughness. 2 hours, 45 minutes on the practice field. Go tackle Jesse Taylor. Go tackle Denny Booker. And here's Jack Dykes trying to throw cross body blocks at you. Mental toughness? Check. Physical toughness? Check. Life was good. I thought I was ready for college. I wanted to play college football. But there really weren't many recruiters looking for 5'9", 150-pound cornerbacks with questionable speed. And here's where I got lucky. Coach Harold Burry from Westminster College, a place I had never heard of, came down to Kiski to recruit 2 of my teammates, Dave Milliron and Donnie Grimm. And there was something in me that he saw. And he asked me to attend Westminster College to be a student and to try out for the football team. Well, 4 years later, I graduated. I won a national championship in 1970 as a member of the Titan team. And in 1971, we played for the final championship game again out in California. 3 quarters went pretty good, and we'll forget about the 4th quarter. Didn't quite work out our way. So at that point, I got a phone call. I was invited to be a Kiski area Cavalier again. For 36 years, I was in the classroom. For 38 seasons, I had the opportunity to coach football, track, basketball. And it was a fun time because there were great people there. My first coach, Milt Shear, worked with him out of Washington Township. talk about a guy who taught you to love kids. Out of the high school, of course, there was Ralph Antonucci, George Ardross, and of course, Dick Dilts, Frank Murray, and Tony Nicholas. These guys were tremendous people, let alone tremendous coaches. They taught kids, they loved the kids, and I learned a little bit from them. None of this would have been possible without support from my wife and daughter. My wife, who really wasn't a sports nut, but she learned to be a coach's wife. She understood that for 4 or 5 months out of the year, I wasn't going to be around. And not only did she take care of her own career, but she took care of our daughter who taught me patience and love. Patience, which I needed later on in coaching to help me. Finally, I'd like to mention the players that I played with as teammates who supported me. Thank them. Whenever we get together, it's fun to tell the stories, to have a few laughs at the old coaches. And I can only hope that in the future, those players that I coached, when they get together, they can tell some stories and have a laugh about old Coach Fazio. Thank you.
I just want to show everybody what we're giving each person tonight. This is the plaque that they'll be receiving. It's very nice. And if you can get a picture, let's step up. Okay, thank you, Kenny. Okay, our next inductee is class of 1972, Diane Haney. Also a very active student in the Kiski area, and was very active at Kiski area as both a teacher and a coach, and continues to be very active in the Kiski area school district even after she is retired. Diane served as head girls softball coach at Kiski area for 22 years. Well, I gotta stop, I just thought of something. This is Diane's second induction ceremony this year. Several months ago, Diane was inducted into the Kiski Hall of Fame, and that was a great honor, very deserving, and so this is the second induction ceremony that, again, very deserving. As the head coach, Kiski won 12 WPL section titles in softball, and Kiski area earned 15 WPIL playoff berths. Her overall record was 248 wins and 128 losses. She was also a volunteer assistant girls varsity coach for 3 years. While at Kiski, Diane was a member of the Kiski Area Education Foundation, Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame, and she's a very important member of our committee and sponsor of the Key Club for many years. Ladies and gentlemen, Diane Haney.
Thank you for those kind words, Tony. Good evening. I want to express my gratitude to the Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame for this honor. It is humbling, and I am blessed to be in this year's class of inductees. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, and especially dear to my heart, one of my players, Kayla. When thinking of all of the people who were a part of my life at that time, truly, they would not fit in this room. From administrators, athletic directors, and teachers who supported the softball program, to all the assistant coaches and the volunteer coaches, to all the athletes, their parents, their grandparents, and to all the fans, to the sports trainers, the bus drivers who transported us to all the games, especially Leonard Bash, to the staff that kept our uniforms clean, to all the amazing people who kept our fields playable, even under terrible weather conditions in the spring, and especially when we were forced off-site for several years due to the renovations at the high school. My parents, Bud and Jerry Schwab, I was blessed. I hit the parent lottery. What a guiding force they remain in my life. My dad, who coached Little League before my two brothers were even born, was a part of the group who chartered the Little League in Washington Township. He was also involved in implementing a program for the girls, ages 9 through 16. At this time, in the early 60s, I was not yet old enough to play, so I was the bat girl. At that time, the girls wore different colored short-sleeved sweatshirts. The uniforms were too expensive, and at that time, t-shirts were considered inappropriate for teenage girls. There were 6 teams, and to my knowledge, none of the fields that we played on exist today. Needless to say, Mom and Dad had a ball in our hands before any of the 5 of us could even walk. Later, I can remember playing catch in the yard with my dad and my hands stinging. Dad smiled, said, "If you catch it right, it doesn't sting." I hope you're smiling tonight, Dad. Mom was just as involved, a Girl Scout and Cub Scout leader, as well as coaching and playing softball. Amazingly, she hiked the Grand Canyon twice in her 70s. My mom was my rock, especially when I was widowed in 1997. Mom and Dad demonstrated the importance of family and instilling in me a passion for sports, especially softball. They also fostered in me a willingness to contribute to my community. I wish they could have been here tonight. I would be remiss not to specifically recognize a few others who will always remain in my heart and are instrumental in my receiving this honor. Thank you to my children, Aaron and Ryan, for sharing their mother, and to Bill for his loving and continued support. Thank you, Mr. Diltz, for giving me the opportunity to serve as head coach and believing in me. Also the ADs that followed Mr. Diltz and supported the softball program. Bill Hawley, Milt Shearer, Harry Orban, and Ryan Berberg. To the administrators, Dr. Vack and Dr. Meehan, and the principals, Anthony Nicholas, Chad Rowland, Mike Cardamone, Tony Ganella, and Dr. Marianne Hazer. In the beginning of my coaching tenure at Kiski, I, as head coach, and Nancy Painter, who you met tonight, was the junior varsity coach. We were it. I believe very, very unique at the time, as there were very few women coaches. We had no assistants, and as varsity and junior varsity played opposite home-away games, there was only one of us at any given game. In 1994, I was fortunate to have a lifelong friend volunteer as an assistant varsity coach. Bob White gave his time and talents willingly to the Kiski area softball program. Being a volunteer was a new phenomenon at Kiski, and I can remember the AD saying to me, "If there are problems, it's your job." I trusted Bob then, and I do to this day. Finally, after a few years as a dedicated and knowledgeable coach to me and the Kiski area softball program, a paid position was his. The players called us Mom and Dad. Bob, always supportive, knew when I became anxious or nervous. Without saying a word, he would pull a butterscotch from his pocket, hand it to me, and never say a word. He provided me with this one for tonight, just in case. Thank you, Bob, for your enduring friendship and support. And thanks also to his wife, Kathy. Although I keep with me many great memories, the 15-inning 1-0 loss in the WPIL title playoff game to Baldwin that sent us into the state playoffs will always remain with me. That will never be repeated due to the new tiebreaker rule that is now in use. Another memory, the Belle Avon Girls Little League team winning the District 26 banner and sharing that joy with my daughter Erin. For 2 years, I simultaneously coached high school and Little League. Also, being named Valley Dispatch Coach of the Year in 2006 was quite an honor. I graciously want to thank the Kiski Area School District for helping to shape my life as a student, a teacher, and a coach. My sincere hope is to continue supporting Kiski Area through my involvement in the Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame, the Kiski Area Education Foundation, and the Kiwanis Club of Vandergrift liaison to the Kiski Area Key Club. And finally, to all my players, you have given me the most treasured memories I could have ever wished for. Teaching and mentoring you over the years, you have enriched my life. My greatest success was watching players grow as students in the classroom and on the field. And then later on, seeing them as spouses, mothers, and individuals. To witness that growth as they became strong, confident women and contributing members to society. I was extremely proud to learn that some have even chosen to become coaches themselves. Thank you for allowing me to be part of those moments in your life. You are the reason that I'm standing here tonight. I share this award with you. My greatest gift, joy, and honor is to be called mom and coach. My heart is smiling. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, before we go to our next inductee, I would like to recognize a group here. You know, this event doesn't happen just every year, just like magic. It takes a lot of hard work for us to get this together and put it together. And we have a committee of 15 that worked on this during the course of the entire year to be able to put something on like this. And we work very well together, always have. This has been our 17th year together. It's hard to believe, but we've been together for 17 years. A lot of us have been on the committee all 17 years. So anyways, I do want to recognize those people, so would you please stand when I call your name. Richard Diltz. Milt Scheer. Milt Scheer. Milt Scheer. Nancy Dombrowski. Tony Despotakis. Melissa Schaefer. Angela Fasano. George Argros. Kevin Hartford. Joe Zaccanini couldn't be here with us this evening, but I do want to recognize Joe. Diane Haney. Danny Albert. John Peterman. Who's also our athletic director. And Jody McCartney. What? Oh, I'm sorry, Dean Yancey. Sorry, Dean. Sorry. Yeah, we missed that in the program, sorry. Okay. Our next inductee is one of our younger inductees who graduated in 2010, but was very busy at Kiski area, both athletically and academically. He did very well at Kiski, and also did very well in college. Justin Harold earned 9 varsity letters in football, wrestling, cross country, and track and field. He was the WPIAL champion in the pole vault, which is quite an accomplishment. He was the team MVP in wrestling in 2009 and 2010. He had a career record of 154 wins and 36 losses in wrestling. He went on to Pitt Johnstown, where he was a member of the wrestling and track and field teams. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justin Harold.
So I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight to show your support. It does mean a lot. And looking at the rest of the inductees tonight, I feel blessed to be in the same room as them, let alone at the same table. So thank you guys. So I think about what I consider to be a good weekend, and it usually involves being down by the river, drinking my hand, on a boat, many things, but I'll tell you what it's not. It's not waking up at 4 in the morning, driving over an hour to go sit in a sweaty gym for the next 12 hours. But time and time again, that's what my parents have done for me. So every weekend I can remember growing up and go to some random high school miles and miles away. Doesn't sound very fun, but about the years, that's every single weekend. So, Mom and Dad, I appreciate the love and support you've shown me throughout the years. And if you guys don't mind standing up as well, I do want to show support to you as well. So, get up. So thanks again, and thanks for the love and support you gave me throughout the years. And I promise I'll pick a nursing home that shows you the same. So also want to give thanks to the coaches and staff of Kiski area. I know everyone here knows that they're the elite. And I can say they don't care only about athletics, they also care about you academically. And I can say they have other athletes that are star athletes that they get to practice, and they make them sit in the room and finish their homework before they come out to practice. And there were times where Coach Tursky had to hunt me down the hallways because I did something stupid. And one time in particular, I submitted a research paper and forgot to do it the night before, so I did it in homeroom in pink pen. And best believe Coach Tursky gave me an earful for that. Coach Heater, Coach Toy, Coach Ridgway, I was pushing the ground more than anyone else here could probably say. So thank you guys, much appreciated, and also helped me become the man I am today. I also want to give special thanks to all my colleagues in school. Like I said, there were a lot of times, because I obviously like to eat. Many times before a tournament, before the weigh in, I had to go run to lose a pound, sometimes two. One thing I never had to do was run by myself. So I had a lot of friends that weren't even weighing in that weekend, but they say, hey, I'll run with you if you need, I'll be here for you, whatever you need to do, I'll be there. So I want to thank all them who aren't here tonight, but something I always think about every night. And lastly, Tony and the rest of the team, this is a beautiful event, and it's good to be honored. And again, I'm very, very blessed, so thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Okay, our next thing on the program is we're giving our special award tonight to a very special lady, and I'm going to take a piece of personal privilege here to talk for a couple minutes before I call Tony Despotakis to give the award. Sue Hartford is going to be our recognition award. She'll receive the Bill Miller Award this evening. I want to say a few words about Sue. Sue and I had a very good working relationship. She was one of the founding members of our committee, served diligently, worked hard at it, got along very well with everybody on the committee. I knew I could trust Sue, and I like to think that she felt that she could trust me, and we worked very well together. And it was, one of her goals was to see this come to fruition. She was on the school board as well at the time this thing got started. And I know she pushed very hard on the Kiski area board to make sure that happened. Hard worker. I mean, the things that she did for this committee were just amazing, and she's sorely missed. And I know when she was on the Kiski area school board, it was the same thing. She worked hard for Kiski area. And what was amazing about Sue was Sue was not a Kiski area person. She didn't grow up in this area, but she loved Kiski area. I know that. And she wanted to see the kids succeed, and she wanted to see the kids succeed, and she was so pleased and grateful whenever things like this, what's happening tonight, occurred, and that we can honor all these people here, which they deserve. So anyways, I just wanted to make a few comments about that. I know her family misses her dearly, and those of us who knew her also miss her very dearly. And she'll always be missed, but she will always be in our hearts. So with that, I will ask Tony Despo to come up and give the award.
Good evening, and congratulations to this year's group. I knew Sue very well. I've been friends with the Hartfords for almost 50 years, and Sue was just a marvelous person. Hard worker, loved Kiski area, and like who the award is based on, Mr. Miller. You know, anybody that talked to her or talked to Mr. Miller could see the love that she had for Kiski area. And she was just a tireless worker. So at this time, I'd like to bring up her boys, Christian and Matthew, Hartford, to say a few words and to accept the award.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nick. And thank you everyone for being here tonight. This is a truly special event tonight. Congrats to all the inductees, especially my classmate Josh Vick down there. Both of our boys, both named Jack, already started running bunkers at the hill last night during the game, so I don't think Coach Heat would have been impressed with the technique, but they got up there, so that was good. Also, along with the inductees, I want to congratulate my dad, Kevin Hartford. He was just stood up in recognition with the rest of the Hall of Fame committee. I was talking to another committee member, my high school geometry teacher, Mr. Argros, during dinner time, and he said that my mom had really big shoes to fill. And I asked, well, has my dad filled them? And he said, no one can fill those shoes. And that's really why we're here celebrating her tonight. As Mr. Despotak has said, Mr. Miller, Bill K. Miller, they always said that the K in Miller stood for Kiski. He was very passionate about this school. He was very passionate about the school district. And there's a quote that I would always talk about with my mom, that is, nothing great in life has ever been accomplished without passion. And that my mom reflected that as well when it came to the Hall of Fame. She gave her all to the committee. She gave her all to this school. She was very proud to kind of marry into this school district, growing up in Sewickley and then joining the Hartford family here in Kiski. But she resonated that every single day. We're obviously very happy to stand up here and represent her on behalf of the Miller family and Kiski area. So just thank you for everything from the committee. Thank you to everyone that is here tonight to celebrate this, and congrats again to all the inductees.
I'm Christian, and thank you everybody for your work so far. I'm Matt in Hartford, Christian's older brother, Sue and Kevin's eldest son. Some of you I've known since back when I was in high school. Others of you are seeing me for the first time ever tonight. But either way, I'm pretty confident in saying that nobody here knows the version of myself that's standing before you here today, because that high school version of myself was, like most angsty teenagers, embarrassed of my mom. I remember as a school board member, she earned the privilege to be up on stage and hand me my diploma, and she kissed me on the cheek in front of all of my graduating class, and I remember thinking to myself, ooh, gross, Mom. And then someone caught that image on camera, and today it's one of my most treasured photographs. But so over the years, I've grown from being embarrassed of my mom to idolizing my mom, and now with my wife and I expecting our first child here in about 6 to 8 weeks or so. Who knows, it's a range. I think more and more about how to memorialize her all the time. And luckily enough, after I saw a certain Mad Men episode where Betty Draper wrote her daughter Sally a letter. I nagged my mom for about 4 months while she was sick and battling cancer to write me something. The procrastinator that she is, she finally wrote it on the very last day of her life, actually, that morning. But there were 3 pieces of advice that I thought I would reiterate. So the first one that she told to me, always be true to yourself. My mom would always push for the things that she believed in. When there was something she wanted to change, whether it was for my brother and myself specifically, or for the entire school in general, she would learn as much as she could about where those decisions were made and why those decisions were made the way they were, and she would maneuver herself and maneuver the things around her to make her ever closer to being able to impact those decisions and make her ideas a reality. Number 2 that she told me, keep the Peter Pan in you alive, always. Peter Pan, for the uninitiated, is the kid that would never grow up. Now, sadly, we must all grow up, but holding on to that little kid energy, it keeps life fun. It keeps us vibrant, keeps us hopeful, able to see the optimism everywhere we look. And as Peter Pan says, the moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. So always believe in that. And then the third thing she told me was, death is part of life, but focus on the living. Now, as a metaphor, this means that teachers need to recognize when a new approach is needed. It means that athletes need to be able to put aside their mistakes and focus on the opportunity of seizing the moment on their next play. However, my mom actually did mean this literally. So I'm incredibly grateful for the chance to speak about my mother receiving the Bill Miller Award tonight. But this night is a celebration for all of you inductees that are here to celebrate with us, and I just want to take a moment to congratulate all of you. You deserve an amazing celebration. This is a great night, and I hope everyone has a wonderful time hanging out tonight and celebrating all of your accomplishments, and thank you for your time.
Okay, hold on, guys, hold on. Just so everybody knows, we were actually going to do this in 2020. We were going to honor Sue then, but because of COVID, we couldn't do it. We had to cancel our banquet, and so this is the first opportunity we've had to do it. But anyways, there was a plaque made in 2020 in memory of Sue, so we would like you guys to have that as well, okay? Okay, our next inductee is from the class of 1998, Jeff Jackson. Jeff earned 8 varsity letters in baseball, football, and basketball. You know what's amazing? When I read this stuff and you see what these people accomplished athletically, you wonder where they had time to go to school, and they all did well in school, and you could see that, and they became great citizens as well. That's what they got their foundation in Kiski area. Anyways, in baseball, Jeff earned 3 varsity letters. As a catcher, he was all section for 3 years. He was a first team WPIL selection his senior year. He earned 3 letters in football. He was selected all conference for 2 years. In basketball, he was a 2-year starter. He went on to Clemson University on a baseball scholarship. Later transferred to IUP and lettered for 4 years in football as a starting linebacker. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Jackson.
First off, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I apologize for my voice. How Kiski are you? No, I got everybody on this one. You know where I was an hour before I got here? Davisfield. My boys are playing youth football, so I figured I'd throw that out there a little bit too. First off, thank you to the committee. Thank you to Mr. Nicholas, Mr. Peterman, all of the other committee members for putting on this amazing night with a lot of planning going into it and a lot of time going into it. It's really greatly appreciated. Congratulations to all of my fellow inductees. Awesome accomplishments. It's an honor to be up here. There's a lot of people to thank and think about it on a night, and I apologize if I miss anybody, but to start, my wife, Nicole, is the absolute backbone of my family currently, and I see so much of my mother in her. She's so supportive in my life at this point in time, and I can't thank her enough. So I love you, and thank you. The three little ones over there with her, my three kids, I'm so blessed to have them around too. And I remember something my father always told me as I got a little bit older, and would thank him for all the things. Once you get a little bit older, you realize how much your parents do for you. And I would thank my dad for all the things he did. And he said, the only thing you need to do to thank me is do everything for your kids like we did for you. And I'm trying to do my best. And I put a lot of time on the sports fields and a lot of time with that. And it's the most fun thing in the world. And that's what it's all about, I guess. So, to my mom and dad, like Mrs. Haney, you said you hit the jackpot with the PA or the parent lottery. I feel like I hit that too, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people in here, especially sitting at this table. My father, by far the most influential person in my life. He's no longer with us, but I feel like the things that I've learned is all from him, and the things that I'm trying to do is all him. To my mother, the most selfless, caring woman I've ever seen in my life. And she did so much sacrifice. They both sacrificed so much for all of us, myself and my sisters too. And I can't thank you enough. And I love you so much. Okay. To my sisters, Julie and Jennifer, I guess my first apology is we never had any summer vacations back in the day, all the baseball and everything. And I always felt guilty about that. But, it was, I want to say, a tough household to grow up in. I was never as smart as Jennifer, and some of the teachers in here probably remember I was never as tough as Julia. I sure know that. So it was always kind of looking up to the both of you in those ways too. But the sacrifice and the support over the years is greatly appreciated also. I see quite a few teachers in here. Mr. Scott, Mr. Heater, Mr. Shear, Mr. Toy, Mr. Argros. I see a lot of you that were in the building when I was there. Mrs. Haney, and a lot of those phys ed teachers. That's what I currently am now. And my daughter asked me if I was nervous about my speech. I said, well, not really. But when you have to talk about the female and male anatomy in front of 15-year-old kids, this is a breeze. So this is easy. So, but I had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Shear last night briefly, and he said, you know, when you're in high school and at that age, so many people are doing so many things for you, and they have your best interests in heart, and people are helping you constantly. I can't thank you all enough. And looking back on it, or looking at it from your set of eyes now as a teacher and as a coach, it's true. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that in all of our lives here. To some of the coaches in my time that were amazing, a youth coach that to mention was a gentleman by the name of Vince Piccolino. Taught me very early on to be tough, but also you have to earn your spot on whatever team you have, which was a great lesson early on especially. But down through some of the coaches I had in high school, Larry Kunzelman, Chris Heater, Mark Early, Larry and Dennis Rupert, Jack Jewett, and especially Sam Manchuri. All very, very influential in my time at Kiski. Just throw out there a couple coaches in college. Jack Leggett for giving me an opportunity at Clemson, Tim Corbin also, but also Frank Signetti, Paul Tortorella, and some of the other coaches that I had in college too. But great night. Thank you all for being here and sharing this with us, and thank you.
Okay, before we go to our next inductee, I would like to, we'd like to do this every year. We're so happy that some of our inductees come back for our banquets every year. So I do want to recognize those who are here in attendance tonight. These are former inductees into our Hall of Fame. So when I call your name, would you please stand and be recognized? Don Toy. Rick Hobbins. Mike Hansen. Richard Diltz. Nancy Dombrowski. George Argros. Dean Yancey. Melissa Schaefer. Angelo Fasano. You know, before the banquet started, I asked Angelo, was he going to pay attention to the banquet, or was he going to have his phone on listening to the Ohio State Notre Dame game? But he promised me that he would pay attention to what's going on here, so we take you at your word, Ange. Amy Lyon Tolan. Dan Albert. Jody Vick. Dan Fazio. And I want this gentleman to stand. His brother was inducted a few years ago posthumously, but he's a regular here and a big supporter of ours. Kenny Donaldson, please stand. Did I miss anybody? I hope I didn't. Oh, Terry, I'm sorry, Terry. Please, thank you, Terry. Terry Hartford. Somebody in the back? Who? Who? Oh, Kenny Robinson. Stand, Kenny, stand. See, when you get old, you forget all this stuff. What can I say? Okay, our next inductee is from the class of '86. Scott earned 6 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. He earned 3 varsity letters in football. He was an all-conference selection as a linebacker his junior and senior years. In basketball, he earned 1 letter and was a member of the team that was a state runner-up in the PIAA tournament that year. In baseball, he earned 2 letters and was MVP of the team in 1986. And he has 3 boys who went through Kiski area who were very athletic, and I have a feeling that some of them may be up here in the not-too-distant future as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Kuhn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What an honor it is to be up here before you all. First, I would like to thank the committee for the induction to the Kiski Area Hall of Fame. I also owe a huge thanks to my parents for getting me to all my sporting events through the years, as well as the support they gave me. Love you both. I want to thank my wife for giving me the best things in my life, our boys. My 3 boys had great careers at Kiski area in football and wrestling. I didn't realize how special my time involved in Kiski area sports was until I began watching my sons compete. Love you, boys. Next, I would like to thank my football coaches, Coach Diltz, Coach Murray, Coach Nick, Coach Antonucci, and my fellow inductee, Coach Fazio. I wouldn't be the man I am today without the guidance you gave me and the life lessons that were taught while playing football. There are a couple great memories that I would like to share. My junior year, when playing Greensburg-Salem, Coach Diltz used to say, streets are alleys. This meant if we lost, we rode the bus through all the alleys on our way home because it would be too embarrassing to ride on the streets. However, I want to make sure that everyone knows we rode home through the streets. Another funny memory would be when we played Valley my senior year. We made a mistake of letting them cross the 50-yard line. At halftime, we had to stand the entire time with our helmets on against the Votech building, not saying a word. Coach Murray, he had his own way of motivating us. Other than his love taps that he gave many of us so frequently with his forearm, he would wear the opponent's shirt all week long, and after we beat their ass, we would burn the shirt in a coffee can and put it on a shelf above his desk. There's one more story I need to share, even though I could go on for hours. Coach Fazio and his corn picking drill. He would make us run to the cornfield, which is where the junior high building is now, and pick him an ear of corn. We would run all the way back, only for him to tell us it wasn't the ear he was pointing at. Moving on to baseball, I would like to thank Coach Strunta and Coach Chops. My all-time favorite baseball memory was the day in the mud. It rained for weeks straight. We were stuck practicing inside. It finally stopped raining one day, so we went out into the grass. We had a blast out there, in the mud, diving for balls, sliding around. That day brought us together so much as a team, which could contribute to the playoff run we made later that season. Once again, thanks for all the memories. Coach Inchuri and Coach Sarasso, my basketball coaches, thank you for some of the best sporting memories that I could ask for. Looking back, we were the first team to beat Farrell on their home floor in years. The bench clearing brawl at Franklin Regional is an unforgettable moment as well. We had so many great road trips in basketball, especially the trips to the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. All these games and trips led us to playing in the state championship at Hershey Giant Center. I'll never forget the day we pulled out of the high school in the coach buses with all the students lined up. That was very cool. Thanks for all the memories. Lastly, thank you to all the great teammates and friends I had a chance to play with. We made a mark on our school without a doubt. This induction wouldn't be impossible without you guys. I built many friendships while playing ball at Kiski area I still have to this day. It was truly an honor to be part of the class of 1986, which was full of great athletes in all sports. Once again, thank you to everyone for this moment. It is an incredible honor. Thank you.
Okay, a couple more people I'd like to recognize before we bring up our next inductee. This gentleman is a regular here. He's been to many of our Hall of Fame banquets, and we appreciate his support in coming. He's the former superintendent here at Kiski area, Dr. Stephen Vack. Would you please stand? Also, she told me she didn't want me to do this, but I feel I have to. I want her to stand because she is our new superintendent, and she's going to do some great things at Kiski area. She is a people's person, and she's 100% behind Kiski area. She's going to do a great job. If you get a chance to talk to her this evening before she leaves, please do. Dr. Misty Slavic, please stand. And I would like the assistant superintendent to stand too. Mr. Jason Lohr, Dr. Lohr. Thank you. Okay, our next inductee is, again, one of our younger inductees, Kayla Wiserobi, class of 2009. Kayla earned 9 varsity letters in softball, basketball, and volleyball. She earned 4 varsity letters in softball. She was MVP of the softball team her junior and senior years. She was first team all-section her senior year. She earned 3 varsity letters in basketball. She earned 2 varsity letters in softball. Her senior year, she was Female Athlete of the Year at Kiski. She went on to play softball at Monmouth University in New Jersey. and is now a doctor of physical therapy. Is that right, Kayla? Ladies and gentlemen, Kayla Wiserobi.
Good evening, everyone. This is truly an honor to be standing here tonight. I would like to thank the committee for thinking of me for this year's selection. It's been good to be back in Pennsylvania with family and friends to celebrate. Thank you to everyone who has worked hard behind the scenes to make this night possible. It truly has been a wonderful event. I would like to thank Mrs. Haney for getting in contact with me and encouraging me to apply and recommending me for this honor. I've had a lot of great coaches moving through my athletic career, and Mrs. Haney is one example of someone who truly loved and had a passion for the game of softball. Thank you, Mrs. Haney. Throughout my athletic career, I had so many good coaches, and one I would like to recognize this evening is Ellen Toy. Ellen touched so many lives and left an imprint on so many of her athletes throughout her life. Her passion for volleyball and the love of the game was contagious. Ellen had a way of making you continue to think positively through both your successes and failures. When I was a junior, I was ready to hang up my volleyball shoes and focus on my love of softball. Ellen was the new head coach, and the athletic trainer at the time, Donna, encouraged me to go to a few open gym practices. At this point, I had zero confidence in my abilities as a volleyball player. From the moment I stepped in the gym, she started to encourage me. She had a way to coach in such a positive way and at the same time elegantly demand the respect of her athletes. On my way to my last collegiate softball game, I messaged Ellen and told her that she's one of the reasons I decided to coach and hopefully have an impact on some girls' life, building them up to be confident and believe in themselves. There's one coach in this room who I've always loved the most, and that's my dad. I would have never had the success I had in my athletic career without him pushing me along the way. Sometimes he may have taken it a little bit to the extreme, like throwing fastballs at me in the yard, and then when I got hit by the ball and I was crying, he said, "You better get back in there or you're not going to play ball anymore." Or during my 7th grade basketball year when I would foul out of almost every game by halftime, he was up in the stands encouraging me to be more aggressive and box out more. Through those lessons, he taught me how to be not just physically tough, but mentally tough as well. Some advice he gave me that never left me was, if you're going to do something, do a good job at it and give 110%. He taught me the work ethic it took to get to the next level in softball, and the work ethic he expected me to carry through the rest of my life. He always told me if I wanted to be the best and become a D1 athlete, I had to work harder than everyone standing around me. Thank you both to my mom and dad for all the opportunities that you've given me to participate in athletics and the great memories we made throughout my athletic career. My love for softball continues to this day, and every day I miss the competition, the sweat, and my softball, basketball, and volleyball families. I'm truly blessed for all the people and all the opportunities God has put into my life. Thank you.
You know, while Kayla was giving her excellent speech here, I was thinking to myself, I guess when you get older, you think about this stuff, things that I forgot that I wanted to bring here tonight. And I realized that as you get older, you start thinking about things that you never thought about when you were younger. Like one of the things I think about now is my health. And so I read health magazine articles, health studies, all the time. And there was a study I read recently where it said that since COVID hit, 1 out of every 4 Americans in this country has mental health issues. 1 out of 4, 25%. So I thought about that, and so it says, check with 3 of your friends and see if they're okay. And if you think they're okay, then it has to be you. I also, in the course of the article, I read about 3 things as you get older, like me again, that are going to be problems as you age. And one is memory loss. As you get older, your memory loss will increase and increase. And the other 2 I already forgot, so might as well move on here. Okay, our next inductee is a fellow who graduated from Kiski area. When I became an administrator, he was a social studies teacher and did an excellent job. And now is an administrator at Kiski. Brian Schwartzlander, class of 1999. He earned 6 varsity letters in football and baseball. He was team captain in football his senior year. His senior year, he earned all conference honors as both a defensive back and quarterback. In baseball, he was team captain his senior year. He was also first team all-conference his senior year. He went on to Washington and Jefferson College and played football and baseball. He was an all-conference selection as a linebacker his junior and senior year. He was in baseball, he was an all-conference selection for 3 years. By the way, last night when these people were introduced at the football game, he got the loudest applause from his students, so he must be a real popular guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Schwartzlander.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Good evening, everyone. I'm both humbled and grateful to be standing here as a member of the Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame class of 2022. Reading the accomplishments of those with me this evening and having the privilege to work with some of you, be it privilege to work with some of you, that I coached you or you were a coach of me, that you were a mentor of mine, and that I've actually, worked with some of you. I'm so honored that my name is even mentioned in the same context when being considered for this honor. Thank you, Mr. Nicholas, Mr. Peterman, Mrs. Haney, and all the members of the Hall of Fame Committee for creating this opportunity for all of us, and for recognizing our accomplishments that started at Kiski area. I'm truly appreciative to all of you. My story begins with 2 people that raised me to be kind, respectful, and confident in all that I do. For as long as I can remember, my mother, Mary Ann, and my father, Brian, made sacrifices for my sister, Tammy, and I, so that we could have every opportunity in life, regardless of status or circumstance. They instilled values in me that I can only hope other parents commit to with their own children. My competitive nature and unwillingness to accept failure is a direct result of their example and influence throughout my life. I do not need formal recognition to know that they are proud of me and that they will always be there to support me regardless of the situation. Mom, thank you for picking me up from practice every day while trying to make dinner after a long day of work. You've showed me how to be tough and resilient and push through adversity. Dad, thank you for the Friday morning calls at work before games to wish me luck and to tell me that I'm going to do great. You both came to every game, an important event in my life, and I've never taken that for granted. I'm so blessed to have you as parents, and I will take what you have taught me and do my best to impart the same values in your grandchildren. Tammy, my sister, you've also showed me what it means to be grateful and committed, and don't think for a second that I haven't seen this in you throughout my life. You're an amazing sister, mother, and person, and your daughter Rihanna is a true reflection of this. Mom, Dad, Tammy, and Rihanna, I love you guys. You're my heroes. I know how lucky I am to still have you in my life. So thank you. For those of you who don't know, my dad is still showing us how to be a winner in our family. At 63 years old, he won his 100th race at Lernerville Speedway last night, passing a young man in his early 20s for the win. So it's a lesson to all of us. It's a lesson to all of us to never be influenced by artificial barriers. He's still getting it done. And that poor 27-year-old guy last night found out the hard way. So I wasn't going to bring this up, but you kind of brought it up, Mr. Nicholas. we're all very competitive in nature, and I thought it would be appropriate. So for anyone who's at the football game at Coach Still's Stadium last night, there was no question which Hall of Fame candidate was most popular among the crowd. Sorry, Josh Vick, you had to follow that. So although each of us have some good statistics, I was the overall winner last night. You may say the deck was stacked, but I'll take that every day of the week. So, I say that because it's actually, it kind of fits into the next part. I can't begin to describe the impact the Kiski Area School District has had on my life. It's not just a place that I went to school and played sports. It's a culture and a community that shaped my life and continues to impact me this very moment. From teachers like Donna Skelzot in elementary, Jim Scott, who was my favorite teacher. I could listen to this guy talk in health class. Just amazing teacher. Teammates like Jeff Jackson, Matt Simon, Dan Smith, who's here with me tonight. Coaches like Chuck Tursky, Jack Jewett, Chris Heater, Ken Fazio, Don Toy, George Argros, Mr. Shear, gym teacher and athletic director, who I see at the races sometimes. Great guy. Leaders like Tony Nicholas, Stephen Vack, John Meehan, Tim Scott, Dr. Lohr, and Dr. Slavic. I have been shaped by the absolute best and continue to work each and every day to grow personally and professionally so that this can be paid forward to all Kiski area students. So to those students that showed up to support me last night, and even those who did not because they couldn't make it, I hope that I can have as much impact on them as all of the people I just mentioned had on me. The last and most important thing that Kiski area gave me is in this room with me tonight. When I was a sophomore and playing football in the fall of 1997, with the help of my best friend Dan Smith, I finally built up enough courage to ask this beautiful girl to go to homecoming dance with me. I ended up hurting my ankle in the Saturday morning JV game and was not able to go to the dance. But fortunately for me, my ankle recovered over the week, and my first date with this lovely lady was rescheduled a week later at Lee's Lane's Bowling Alley on the River Road. Great first date. Dan Smith agreed to be my wingman, and the rest became history. In 2005, I found myself marrying Amy Boland, who's here with me tonight, and Dan Smith was my best man. So the greatest gift that I received in this world came from Kiski area. Amy, I love you more than words can express. You give me strength, confidence, purpose, and unconditional love, and make me a better person, father, and leader every day. Thank you for our wonderful children, Katie and Neil, who I hope have every opportunity to experience all the love and support we've received from so many growing up. Thank you, JD and Betsy Boland, Mom and Dad, Dee and Mom, for welcoming me into your amazing family and making me one of your own. Your daughter is a special woman, and I know exactly where that comes from. I love you guys. If you're a parent in the district or employee of Kiski area, you may have noticed that I end every email or message that I send with Go Cavaliers or KA all day. This is not just a convenient ending or a cliche statement. It's much more than that to me. I could go into much more detail about the many people that I mentioned and could talk more, but Mr. Nick asked to keep this to 5 minutes, and I think I went way beyond that. I apologize. Kiski is a special place, and I am living proof of this. So congratulations to all of you here with me tonight. Your accomplishments make me feel that much more special. I'm honored to be inducted with you in the 2022 Hall of Fame class. Go Cavaliers.
Okay, our next inductee, before I introduce him, I'll preface this by saying that in the 15 years that we have done this, we've had one family that had 3 people inducted. One family. Well, this will make the second family with this induction this evening. The Vick family will now have 3 being inducted, or has been inducted. Josh Vick, class of 2008. He earned 7 varsity letters in football and track. In football, Josh set the school record for passing yards and touchdown passes. In 2007, he also led the WPL in passing yards. He was also an all-conference selection his senior year. In track in 2006, he was a WPL and state champion in the javelin. That in itself is an incredible achievement. He set the school record with a throw of 208 feet and 9 inches. In 2008, he was third in the javelin at the WPL meet. He later went on to play football at the University of New Hampshire and Cornell. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Vick.
Good evening. First, congratulations to all of my fellow inductees. Hearing your accomplishments over the last 2 days has been really cool to be able to see what you did at your time at Kiski area, and I'm honored to be inducted with this great class. Like my fellow inductees, would like to thank the committee, the hard work that went into this. Mr. Nick is a parent, and getting to talk with Mr. Hartford and listening to some of the folks talk this evening, you can feel Susan Hartford's presence and her hand in sort of shaping all of this. Most so for me, because I knew Sue since I was playing soccer from, I think, whenever our Jacks were age. And she was the one who nominated me, so thank you to the Hartford family, Mr. Hartford, Matt, Christian. You guys spoke beautifully about Susan this evening, and friends and family, so thank you for letting us share in that. It's a really special night. Any success I had in high school sports is because I had a ton of support, and that continues to this day. Table 10, my aunt and uncle, Don and Scott, my uncle Dean, my grandparents, Dave and Marie Smith, my beautiful wife Molly, my sister Jody, who is already an inductee, and of course my parents, Dave and Debbie Vick. Like the other inductees, I also feel like I won the jackpot in parents. Your support was a constant. You were always there. You were at all of our games, whether that was coaching or spectating, shuttling us back and forth. Please know how much that was appreciated. And if having Hall of Fame parents wasn't a big enough advantage, I had great coaching. So men like Chris Eder and Jim Scott and Don Toy and so many others who were not only just great members of this community, but took the time and sacrificed their time with their families to be with us as young men. And ultimately, there's no greater gift you can give a young person than your time, so please know that sacrifice is truly appreciated, and that we couldn't have done any of the accomplishments we have without you guys. And last but not least, probably the person I have to thank most is my 2 older sisters. For as long as I can remember, I was chasing my sisters through gymnasiums. I always knew that I wanted to do sports because that's what they did. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to do sports and try to follow in their footsteps the best I could, and they continue to inspire me to this day. Last month marked 10 years since my sister Jamie passed away. She was 28 years old when we lost her, but she lived her life in such a way that her memory still to this day raises money to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars each year to support childhood cancers and other worthy causes under the stewardship of Jody and my parents through her foundation, the Jamie Vick Moran Foundation. Jody, the way you raise your boys, the way you are passionate with your students and your players, and the Kiski area Lady Volleyball team is 3-0 right now, which I'm going to declare is the greatest start in Kiski area volleyball history right now. So it's only fitting, and I consider it the greatest honor of all, that I follow in your footsteps once again into this Hall of Fame, because you are and always have been my hero. So thank you.
Okay. Our last inductee, I was kind of worried last night. He didn't make it for the football game. And I thought, oh boy, maybe something happened with Justin. But no, he's here, thank God. And we're glad he's here. Justin Ray is from the class of 2004. He earned 5 varsity letters in football and track. In football, Justin in his senior year led the team in rushing yards and touchdowns. In track and field, he earned medals in the 200-meter run and the 4x100 relay at the Westmoreland County meet. He was also a member of the 4x100 meter team that participated in the state meet championship in 2004. Justin later played football for 4 years at Mount Union College. He was a member of the national championship teams in football for 2 years at that school. I don't know if you know anything about Mount Union, but it's one of the exceptional football programs in Division III in the country. And he played out there and did well, so that's quite an accomplishment for him. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justin Ray.
Okay, so my daughter helped me write this speech, so see how it goes. My kids are awesome, and they should be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. That was from Peyton. Pretty good. I also want to say happy 10-year anniversary to my wife, which was yesterday. We married 10 years ago, and she gets to share it with the Kiski Area Hall of Fame, so I appreciate her coming here and being here to share in this moment. Thank you to the committee. It's truly an honor to be up here with all these great Cavaliers, top to bottom, just an incredible class, incredible people, the athletic department, the people involved, just top class. So it brings a tear to my eye, and I'm truly grateful to be here. So I want to thank all my coaches, teammates, family, and all the KA supporters first and foremost. And then getting into the heart of my speech, I'd say more so than any game or accomplishment I have, I think about the life lessons that sports has taught me. So growing up, youth athletics came easy to me. And I always look at now, in retrospect, I look at success as a combination of pure luck and hard work. And growing up, it was luck driving the bus. To talk to Miss Haney saying she hit the lottery, that was the whole luck component to my upbringing. I was naturally gifted athletically. I had great support and great family driving me forward. And then I think what I really take from my time in Kiski area was developing that hard work aspect. That's where I really first faced some adversity in my athletic pursuits. When I was in middle school, 9th grade, I wasn't playing right away. And I was really kind of mopey and complaining at first. And I was honestly on the brink of just giving up sports. And the guy that nominated me, he's not here tonight, but my best friend growing up, Luke Duranchek, he gave me some tough love at 10th grade camp. I came back after he had done pretty well at a scrimmage, and I'd done pretty well too, but I was just kind of frustrated with not being elevated to the starting roster right away. And he said, hey, you gotta look in the mirror, because no one cares about your complaints and your poor attitude. You gotta work harder. And at first I was like, man, he's kind of a dick. I don't know if I should be his friend anymore. But then I really did look into the mirror and just started saying, what can I do better? I started looking at what he was doing as a hard worker, worked in the weight room, and I was like, I wasn't doing that. So just started developing that work ethic in high school, and I carry with me today. I owe a lot of my success in life to that. Turned that switch on and ended up starting and going on to great things in my athletic career. And that's all from my time at Kiski. That the development of the resilience and grit and perseverance in the face of adversity, that all comes from my time at Kiski and with great supporting teammates, great staff, great coaches. I really owe that to my time at Kiski area. And then the last thing I want to touch on is it's tough to look at sports and life in different lights because they're so intertwined for me. So I look at how important sports are to me and how it just brought me together with my family. So for 15 years, every weekend I got to spend time with my mom, my dad, my sister, and those moments are just truly they're just truly precious to me. And without sports, we probably wouldn't be spending every one of those weekends together. And then the path that sports puts you on, that brought me to my wife, brought me to my kids. It all comes from my time in sports, and that all stems from Kiski area. So I just want to say thank you for nominating me. Thank you for putting me up here. But really, I just want to thank sports in general for putting me on the trajectory of my life that I have today. So thanks, everyone.
Okay, as we are about to close here, these 9 people are truly a great example of what Kiski area has produced and the great accomplishments that these people have all done in their lives. And again, the foundation being in Kiski area. How about a nice warm welcome for applause, please. Okay, I want to ask Nancy, would you come up again and do the closing prayer for us? I know this is unexpected, Nancy. Appreciate it.
Our Heavenly Father, we're just so thankful for this wonderful evening we were able to have and share this time with these inductees and their family and friends and all the great memories that everybody had from those wonderful times spent in Kiski area. Lord, we just ask that everyone gets home safely, and we're just thankful for this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, Nancy hit on it there. Well, you've been a great audience. We thank you again for coming. Drive home safely, and hopefully we'll see some of you back here next year. Thank you.